What's good, YouTube? Back with another video. I really need to get into these games. I've missed a ton of ball over the past weekend. We just had a crazy slate of games across the playoffs. And 8 games in 2 days. I could tell, for the top dogs in the space that are able to cover these with such depth, I really just appreciate them because you learn so much from their content. And with last night just being a double header, it is a lot less on my plate to make upload here. So I do want to get an upload in, and we had 2 great games, like just back to back. Some of the best basketball that you will see over the entire season on like one given night. We've had Detroit tied the series up with a much needed win over the Knicks, 194. And the Clippers with the thriller Kawhi sensation. I watched both these games the entire way. It was a great 5-hour set. And I just want to get right into it. So let me just pull the box score up here. Let's see if I can shift over. Yeah, so we have 194. And Detroit, they could very easily be up 2-0 in the series right now, because they've controlled both of these games in the first half and early in the third. And just slowly, New York creeps in. The home crowd starts to get into it. The MSG is one of the best crowds in the league, even with all the celebrities that show up. And you could really tell, especially in the past final 5 minutes, it really felt like New York was just going to steal another one, steal home court once again, because at home the first 2, Detroit had a great chance to win game 1. The 21-0 lead should have never happened, but that just gives power to how good the Knicks are, at just staying the course throughout a game. And New York is really great in the clutch. Like Brunson is really great at getting to his spot, and their defense is surprisingly good for somebody that is notorious for being a bad defender. And Cat holding down the glass. Detroit, obviously, they're a very young team. This is their first playoff win in, I believe, a little more, almost 17 years. That was what it said on the broadcast last night. And yeah, so really shout out. I do want to get into box scores, because if we look towards game 1, like Tobias Harris, 25 in game 1, no one could see that coming. So he cooled off a little bit. Still a very good game, very good showing. 13 boards, 15 points. You will really take that from your scoring forward. And really positive minutes from nearly the entire starting lineup besides Jalen Duren, which I thought, even though the plus minus does not tell the whole story in my opinion, because I felt like he had great minutes in production, especially late in the fourth. So he was really able to get some quality boards and get quality looks, and 6 for 6 at the free throw line. That is the most important thing, because free throws win playoff games. Cade Cunningham, sensational. I mean, he has been the driving force behind this rebuild. And even without Jaden Ivey for the playoffs, this team is looking insanely good. Their bench guys are surprisingly great. Obviously, we knew the production Malik Beasley would bring. He did not shoot well today at all. A terrible game, but you still want him to be, surrounding that 40% range, 38 to 42 on any given night from downtown on about 7 attempts. Schroeder, great production. He was probably the biggest reason behind their win besides Cade. 20 points. He had the clutch 3-pointer in the final minute, which was pretty much the game winner. And some looking at like there are other guys that names you're not going to recognize immediately as much. Paul Reed in this 10 minutes he got, like they were extremely impactful. He had got an offensive rebound, put back 6 points, a plus 13. Like he is like one player that it does show in the plus minus. 3 for 4 from the field. You will take that steal in the block. 2 turnovers in 10 minutes is something that you want to see him improve on. Probably get a little bit better decision making here and there. Holland the second, he was okay, right? He was there. I'm just not sure if he's going to be able to, because obviously only 5 minutes, but I believe his skill set is really good and can be impactful if he's able to get his right shots off. He's averaged 6 points on the season. But in playoff ball, lineups condense extremely. So you're only going to see 7-8 guys on any given night, especially ones that are going to play large minutes. So I'm not sure if he's going to be able to find his role this season. But as a younger guy, he's only 20 years old, 19 years old. I think he's going to be great in the upcoming 2-3 seasons. Going back to Asar Thompson, he was probably, I'll say, the biggest story tonight, fouling out. And across the media, a lot of call-outs towards Brunson in terms of 2 major calls on Thompson. Now, I don't like to get into it. I do think I'm not a fan of Brunson's game in terms of the foul baiting. I'm not a fan of any foul baiting in general from players across the league. But it's gamesmanship at the end of the day. You can't say much about it. Tim Hardaway Jr., terrible minutes, absolutely horrendous. I'm not sure if he's playable right now in those 21 minutes, 0 for 6 from downtown. If that is his one asset as a rotational player, and he's starting. I'm not sure if Bickerstaff is going to continue having hope in Hardaway. If he cannot knock down shots in Game 3, you're going to have to cut him to the bench, bring him down to about 12, 13 minutes to see if he catches fire on any given night. Then you could leave him in while he's hot. But he's a streaky shooter, so you do not want to have him in while he's missing shots. Rebound assists, it's fine. But back to Asar Thompson. Him and his brother, men, they're just unbelievable athletes. You don't really see much like them these days, and their skill sets is still raw. I do think the men is a lot more refined at this time. But Asar, he's extremely athletic, great dribble penetration, and he's able to cross the glass. The fouling needs to come down. It just has to. I do think he can do it because I believe in his skill set. He can improve. His offensive game can be improved in the near future, especially over the course of the offseason. So he's going to be the cornerstone, probably the number 2 in my opinion, behind Cade and maybe Jaden Ivey. We'll see how that dynamic changes over the next few seasons. But Detroit, man, I think they will win this series. Game 1. I did have the Knicks winning before the series, just off of preconceived notions. I didn't watch enough of Detroit to really see. I knew their main guys, Cade, Beasley, Schroeder have been a great trade deadline addition. And they got the win. So if they can win, I think splitting at home will bring that back to the Knicks, not just in terms of home court advantage, but I do believe in their players in late game situations, especially if the series goes to 6 or 7. But I don't know. I'm just really surprised at how much the Pistons performed consistently, despite losing the big leads. They really controlled both games, and they're a really good team. But I do want to switch over to the Knicks before going to the thriller between Denver and the Clippers. So the Knicks starters, which I thought was okay. Besides Brunson, Brunson's great. He was only 9 for 11 at the free throw line, 4 for 12 from 3, so 27 shots. He is a volume. He's your typical volume shooter. His efficiency can be on some nights, but this is going to be the stat line a majority of the time, around 14 of 28 or 11 of 23. Somewhere around there. 7 assists. 6 turnovers, a couple of them were major in terms of, live ball led to the score being what it was at the end of the game. Mikal Bridges, man, has his defense deteriorated over the past 3 seasons. I would have never seen it coming. Obviously, he's been notorious for his playing every single game of his career, never missing a game. But the shooting and the offense is still there. He is had a lot of trouble with the 3-point shot this season. And it's been off and on. So he had a colder night, 8 for 18 from the field. You will take that. 5 rebounds, 3 steals, great length. 3-and-D player. He's still a good 3-and-D player, but the defense has gotten a lot worse since his finals year in Phoenix. OG Anunoby, 42 points. 42 minutes. He's going to play a lot under Thibodeau. He's your classic Thibodeau guy. Long, extremely hard working, and great defender. 4 of 10 from the field, 10 points. So the offensive production from OG and mainly Cat, like you cannot have Cat scoring 10 points in a playoff game. You know, he's had these moments where it's just completely been a large drop off in his offensive production specifically, and with him being a net negative defender historically over the course of his career, you need him to average 18 to 25 points a game. Josh Hart, I just don't know if he's going to be a sufficing starter for a contender in terms of his skill set. Like, he's extremely hardworking. He crashed the glass, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal. But just his offensive ceiling is very low. And 2 for 6 from the field. He's not going to be a volume shooter. The confidence does leave him many times over the course of the year, especially come playoff time. Go back to his series against Miami a couple years ago. And last season, I believe they had played the Sixers. It was an opponent in either the first or second round last season. No, I think it was Indy in the second round. Where there were many games where he would find open shots and Indy would kind of just leave him open, settling for threes. And I just don't know if Hart's going to be a starter on a contender, just because of his offensive skill set and the matchups that creates on the offensive side for this team in general. Going to the bench, the only guy that got major minutes was Mitchell Robinson. McBride had got 30 minutes, and he had a nice streak of shooting in the second quarter. Robinson, he was not great in his 20 minutes. 7 boards, so that's going to stay consistent. But you really want him to get those putbacks, those alley-oops, and you want to see him average around 8 points a game to have a confidence in him offensively. Cameron Payne and Landry Shamet were terrible. They got minimal minutes, but I just don't know if they're going to be able to get, especially with Thibodeau. With the Knicks, in terms of minutes allocation, you have to look at it with context, just because of how much Thibodeau likes to play his 5 guys, right? So they're all going to play 35 to 40 minutes, and those bench guys are going to get a lot less minutes compared to other teams. Yeah. But if we go to the team stats, this was an insanely close game. Right, during the Knicks clawback into the game, Detroit was having some costly turnovers and a little bit of panic late in the shot clock on multiple possessions, especially early in the fourth. And this had caused, in transition, the Knicks are able to get a open three, or a Brunson step back in the mid-range to get these easy looks that allowed them to claw back, and especially some fouls. Obviously, I do not put many chips into refereeing. I thought the game was reffed fine. The Pistons had got a lot more free throws, in fact, 15 more free throws. But drawing fouls in the middle of the fourth quarter, getting to the line in the bonus early, allowed to close the gap, and it was insanely close for probably the last 4 minutes. And in the clutch, those big possessions on the final possession for New York, Bridges had got a great look at the 3-point line, great look to tie the game. He just does not hit it, and that was the game right there. Leading scorers, Cunningham and Brunson each had over 30 points. Major stats to look at, the turnover battle was pretty equal, so was fast break. It was a pretty equal in terms of fouls called. Assist, rebounding was probably the big thing, especially in those second and third quarters where the Pistons were able to create a gap, just crashing the glass, getting 12 offensive rebounds in the game. The Knicks are going to need to improve that, but you're not going to expect much, especially with Cat, which is just, he does not have that high of a motor defensively. He is going to have much more energy. When his offensive game is there, he's going to be a willing defender. He's enjoying the game. When it's not there, it's going to be on and off in terms of motor. But as far as the series, I think the series is extremely simple, because you know the guys on each team, and the variance is not going to be there. The role players specifically, their variance is strictly going to be in shooting, in my opinion. But defensively and offensively, I think these teams are extremely equal. And that's why you've seen 2 close games despite the Pistons having larger leads, because I think they have the advantage athletically, especially in their starting lineups. Now, game 3, I do think it's going to be a little different, where I don't think the Pistons will be able to just claw a lead early. Now, I don't think they need that lead to win the game. I do have the Pistons winning game 3 fairly easily, but I think it's going to be a lot closer throughout the early part of the game, where the separation is going to be created much later than it was in games 1 and 2. But I do want to go to the game where everyone is talking about it because of just what happened. Probably the most surprising result, not in the scores, but Kawhi Leonard dropping the best game in the last 5 years from him easily. 39 points on 15 of 19 shooting. 4-7 from 3 with 5 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 steals, and a block. Just sensational. Every spot on the floor, whether it was from the 3-point line, the mid-range, he was able to play extremely well in the post. He was perfect at the line, drove penetration. And, James Harden's shot was not there for a large part of the game. And Kawhi, especially late, he was kind of just carrying him, getting these consistent looks. And a lot of them were high difficulty as well. Extremely contested from 2, sometimes even 3 guys at times. And I could not expect it. Obviously, over the past 3 seasons, we've only seen Kawhi hurt in April. He's had trouble. He's had multiple knee surgeries. But he looked athletic. Like he was able to have a lot of acceleration going to the basket. And I mean, wow, if the Clippers can get this, they're a contender, in my opinion. If this type of production from Kawhi, James Harden, he's gonna have much better luck with the floater in most games. And Norman Powell, 13 points, you will take that. Zoo, like just such a consistent double guy. Probably my favorite guy on the Clippers as a player, and he's somebody that's going to stay with the Clippers for a while just because of how consistent he is and how high his floor is as a player. On the bench, like the bench guys are extremely great. The entire team just has unlimited length across the entire rotation. Bogdan, he didn't get minutes early, but he played, I'll say in the second half, much more. You need his shooting. His shooting is extremely important, as he's an average defender, in my opinion. And when he's not going to be able to play when he's only shooting. He couldn't make a field goal. So that needs to be a lot better. But Batum, he was only 2 or 5 from 3 tonight. But just his consistency as like a net positive defender, especially in the help on the wings, and his spacing, right? Like 40% from 3, you will take that. And it's because he's just extremely smart as a player. He was calling out switches all throughout the night. And I really think that over the course of his career, he's been a great role player. Everywhere he's been, he went from the Clippers to Philly, back to Clippers after his long stint in Portland. And his role is super defined in the Clippers rotation, getting 20-25 minutes a game, hitting some big shots, especially in the late part of the game. This has happened multiple times throughout the season. And he's going to be able to give you solid production in the rotation while not having, like the super outwardly performances, which I think can be extremely important. You have somebody that's extremely consistent and is able to give you quality production no matter the opponent. Derrick Jones Jr., he was better tonight than he was in game 1. 3 of 7 from the field. He still couldn't get a 3-pointer down. 2 boards. You want to see more from him, especially as an athletic guy. 19 minutes. But the bench guys did not get that many minutes just because of how close this was. So in close games, you're going to see starters stack minutes. And just like how I was talking about the Knicks with Thibodeau in the previous game, this game matched that, but surprisingly. I'm going to the starts. Chris Dunn, 29 minutes. His like uplifting from the past, I'll say 3 seasons, has been a great thing. He was stuck in Utah for a few years. He didn't have a great first 4 or 5 seasons coming out of Providence. You know, he was a good defensive player. He's been a great defensive player his entire career, but the offensive game has come late. You know, he's improved his shooting a lot. He didn't shoot well tonight, but his effort is extremely important in the playoffs. Almost instrumental because of the energy that he brings along with the rest of the lineup. Helps out the entire team because, you know, 3 steals. And some of these were open. I could not even just this game, but of course the entire season has come in live ball situations, creating turnovers, going in transition, getting these easy baskets for the rest of the team. So him and Powell, 3 steals each, creating turnovers across. You could see just from steals alone. Kawhi with 2, Zubac, Harden 1 each. This team just has so much length to create these live ball turnovers, get those points in transition. And Denver, now, you know, their team is extremely consistent. Going down to them for a second before going back to the Clippers. Jokic, the triple-double, he was good tonight. I can't say he was great because of the 7 turnovers. And a lot of these turnovers, I think about 3 of them was in the 4th quarter, if I'm not mistaken. And just terrible ones that you do not see Jokic make whatsoever. Gordon was good, even though he didn't shoot well. Murray was great. He was probably their best player tonight, in my opinion. Obviously, okay, maybe I should settle down because if we have to consider the Jokic stat line is being normalized. It's still a triple-double with 26 points in the big man position. He shot great from 3, 57% from the field. His offense was good tonight. It was just the turnovers. In these important situations, in a close game, you have to look at these things when you talk about a win and a loss, because at the end of the day, that is what matters. Do you win the game or do you lose the game? In playoff time, the ones that come out on top, you know, some luck goes their way, but the consistency in these high leverage situations. So tonight, I do think Jokic was one of the reasons they end up losing late, despite the Kawhi heroics, because obviously that is going to be the most important factor into why the series is tied going to LA. But the turnovers from Jokic were quite heavy in terms of Denver not coming away with this one, which I think they were very good and they deserved the win as well. Jamal Murray, 23 points on 17 shots. You will take this. Jamal, this is playoff Murray. We talk about this. He's off and on, but right now, especially in these first 2 games, he's been extremely consistent. And I am extremely excited because he's such a fun player to watch. There's so much charisma, confidence in himself and the team. And MPJ, you know, the media was saying that he was called out by Jokic subliminally in his interview about, you know, if you don't want to be here, like if you can't play hard. And he came back playing extremely hard. 6 for 11 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3. You will take that with 15 points. You want to see him ranging from 15 to 20 every night. 15 rebounds. That is playing hard. His motor, he wanted to make a statement, and he did with 6 offensive boards, creating a ton of second chance possessions. Assist, steal, 3 turnovers. You want to see that coming down a little bit, but I thought he was extremely important. And if this could stay throughout the rest of the series, Denver's going to have a great chance to win. Christian Brown, he's not finding his shot over the course of these first 2 games. I do think it can come to him because I really like his ceiling as an offensive player, dribble penetration. The spot up 3 has not shaped well over the first 3 seasons still, but he's still extremely young. You know, I think he was a freshman out of Kansas on that championship team, and he could still improve. So I do think Brown is a deserving starter, but he is a drop from, you know, the guys before, such as Brown, Bruce Brown, and KCP. And that is probably the biggest reason, you know, Denver, the money, the second apron, the new CBA, as while these championship teams cannot stay championship caliber teams for long, you cannot stack the deck because these players want money and you cannot pay them without completely risking your future. On the bench, the Russell Westbrook shot really well tonight. You know, he's going to give you the full Russell Westbrook experience, but he did not make a ton of mistakes, like a ton of major mistakes. Only 2 turnovers. You will take that. He did not have the ball as far as like playmaking as much, as this was like a major 2-man game between Jokic and Murray for the majority. But in 23 minutes, 11 shots, he was 3 of 6 from 3. You will take that on any given night, 100%. As you know, the teams are going to let Westbrook shoot a lot of the time. But when he's on hitting those great shots, I mean, it's going to be hard for Denver to lose. Just because of how, like, the variance in shooting from their players is a little much for me, especially guys like Peyton Watson. Jalen Pickett's not going to play much. DeAndre Jordan getting minutes is laughable, honestly. I guess I can see it with the Zubac matchup, but I just don't. You can't play DeAndre Jordan in 2025. But if Westbrook can shoot 40% from 3 and 50% from the field, I do think Denver will pull it out. I'm still picking the Clippers to win the series. Just because I believe in their talent and their length, and just because of how high their floor is. They're just more talented, in my opinion, than Denver. But with how close these games, a close game late always leans Denver, in my opinion. Obviously, Kawhi is playing amazing right now. He won the game in the clutch for Denver, as well as big shots from Norman Powell. But in a 7-game series, in clutch situations, the Denver Nuggets are going to come out top against any team in the league, bar none. The Jokic and Murray 2-man game, that 5-man lineup, I still think is at worst the 5th best 5-man lineup in basketball, and they all know their roles. They all know their spots, the shots that they want to get late, quality looks, and you saw big-time threes from Murray and MPJ just because of how many minutes, how many games, and how long they've been together. They've been together forever. Some of the best continuity in the NBA, and we're going to see. This is easily the best series so far in the playoffs over these first 2 games, and it can only go up from here because both these games have been sensational. Blockbusters, instant classics. I do want to give some short previews for the games tonight because I do want to make a video. I want to start getting these videos as the NBA is starting to pace itself on the amount of games played. And let's see, schedule. Here we go. Tonight on Tuesday. Today's Tuesday, 22nd. Milwaukee, Indiana. I think the Pacers win in 5. Honestly. Lillard comes back, but historically, coming back in the playoffs for both Lillard and Giannis, they have not looked great out of the box, and they need to run their way, and I just think it's too late. Milwaukee's in a bad situation in terms of injuries, and they've been this way for the past 3 seasons, pretty much. Giannis could easily be traded in the offseason. He requesting a trade. And I think Indiana in 5 right now. This could change depending on what we see tonight and in Game 3. But the offensive ceiling and just the pace that the Pacers come with, Halliburton leading the way. He didn't shoot well in Game 1, but his value as a player, he just raises the system exponentially. I don't think Milwaukee can compete with guys like Kuzma and Taurean Prince. So I think the Pacers are going to win that one fairly easily. This is over in 4. I mean, it's not even worth discussing. Ja has not improved over the past 3-4 seasons. It's from where he was in his first 3 years, and he has not developed his playmaking as a guard. I don't know where you go from here, as he's a shorter guard. And Memphis, I don't know. I don't know what you do, because it's hard to improve the team after you're paying your 3 main guys so much money. And the ceiling, like these teams, is just a completely different weight class. Now, Oklahoma City, Jalen Williams will need to get paid, I believe, after this next season. But the Hardenstein, Caruso pickups have been sensational. This team is one of the best teams of all time in the regular season. And right now, especially in Game 1, they could be one of the best teams of all time, period. I think this, right now at least, this team looks like they're going to cruise through the playoffs. I still have Boston winning the championship at this moment. But Oklahoma City just looks like an unstoppable force. Unstoppable. And the West is not as good as we initially thought. So Oklahoma's going to win that series in 4 games. Done. It's going to be a sweep. Lakers, Minnesota. Like, this one is extremely interesting. The Lakers in 5 gimmick has been laughable. The Minnesota has been underlooked for the past week and a half, ever since we've known the bracket, and they showed in game 1 they could be the better team. I'm not 100% sure of that. Just the defensive capabilities. Luka, right? Luka's gonna get his, but that was the game plan. You've seen it clearly in game 1. Minimize the doubles that Luka receives, and is simply put, the roster construction for the Lakers is just not maximized for Luka. Going back to his finals run with Dallas last season, a big part of that was the Gafford lively lob threat, and Jackson Hayes is near unplayable right now in a playoff atmosphere. I simply don't know what you do in terms of his role and Luka's, but Reeves and LeBron, you expect them to be a lot better tonight. They're going to need production from the role players, and you need them to hit open threes. But with Minnesota's game plan, limiting the open threes given to the role guys on the corners and wings, and letting Luka be a little bit more ball dominant. He only got 1 assist in game 1. You never see that from a player of Luka's caliber in terms of playmaking. And Minnesota. Now, you want to see the Lakers kind of implement that game plan onto Minnesota, because Ant did not have his shot at all early, but guys like Naz Reid, DiVincenzo didn't shoot well. Nikhil Alexander Walker, but these guys are shooting well. They shot 50% from 3. Now, as a Lakers fan, you're going to be like, okay, they're not going to shoot 50% from 3 every night. And that's most likely true. But you understand, the defense was not great. A lot of these shots were extremely open all game long. It's immediately after the first quarter, when Minnesota had gotten to their run, just open threes in transition, turnovers. And the turnovers that were caused, the majority of them were live ball turnovers, giving easy looks. So you want to see them kind of limit the 3 ball this time, giving Anthony Edwards a lot more space to roam, because he was able to find his shot, and his ascent in the playoff player hierarchy has been amazing because of his improvement as a playmaker. And, in the first couple of years, you saw just how raw he was, but his ceiling, and he's still nowhere near his ceiling at this time, but he's able to find guys with his dual penetration, and even sometimes early in games he's not gonna have it at that moment, because you want to see him mainly look to kick out, just because of how much shooting he has around him. Now, we may not think of these guys as shooters. Julius Randle, Jaden McDaniels, for instance, and both of them were hitting in game 1, and they're simply not going to do that every night, as they're streaky shooters. But guys like Naz Reid, DiVincenzo, he still has Conley as well. And not all these guys are going to be on, but not all these guys are going to be off either. So when you have these guys constantly open, just because of the help penetration that the Lakers have to give up because of not a ton of athleticism, you have Vando and DFS, but their offensive variance is a little high for them to get major minutes every single night. So those matchups, Reeves, for example, was like the main victim of mismatches and switching. So you're going to be able to give open looks. Right now, I do have Minnesota winning in 6 games. Just because of the matchups that we thought we would see before the series, as far as like the general consensus, not me myself, but the consensus, as far as like Minnesota just could not compete with the Lakers offense. But with their game plan at this moment, JJ is going to need to make major adjustments, because Finch outcoached him drastically in game 1. So we're going to see what that plays out. So that's 3 great games tonight, and I'm extremely excited. Now, watching this playoffs as a non-biased fan, okay, I have to come out the bag. I can't say non-biased 100%, because I do have teams that I'm not a fan of much. Golden State mainly, and the Lakers. But I want to give as much of constructive and objective commentary as possible, because I think that's the biggest importance in my role to give to you guys as viewers. I'm available, as I'm gonna have a lot more into that Lakers game, specifically just because of how much emotionally invested I am into that. As a Suns fan, no longer Suns fan, ex-Suns fan, I should say. And it's disappointing because we should be here, in my opinion. Kevin Durant and Devin Booker are playoff caliber guys, and they should be in this tournament. And the fact that they're not is simply embarrassing. I appreciate you guys who like watching this video today. It was pretty good. We had some good games last night. The games are extremely exciting. I may end up doing a live stream sometime this week on maybe the Laker game. I'll try to find some time to put that in. Don't book it yet because I have to figure out the schedule and everything. Be sure to like the video, subscribe, and comment down below. Give me your takes. Give me your agendas. I love them. I love debating. I want to hear your thoughts because I have my thoughts too. So I will respond to every comment that I see in the comment section. And thank you for watching the video. Somewhere in the outro, the videos will be here. All the videos, check those out as well if you like. Thank you. Have a good one. Bless. Peace out.